Like, I hope it's like a slick move. Like, he's trying to, like, fucking. What do you call it? Not commandeer. Infiltrate the Catholic Church to fucking. I don't even know. It's just fucking terrible. Hmm.
It's more market-oriented than other Western countries, including Canada, the US, Australia, and the United Kingdom. While Sweden certainly experimented with much higher levels of government spending, it figured out that such policies don't work. It retreated by pulling back on government spending and restoring fiscal balance. Sweden does have a larger welfare system than many other countries, but it's financed by higher taxes on average Swedes. They have agreed to pay higher taxes in exchange for more government services. This is a compact largely rejected in many other Western countries.
Yo, does that look like that Danielle chick?
We turn now to the courts in New York, where Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial heard from an attorney who represented Stormy Daniels. But the day began with Judge Merchan's decision on whether Trump violated the gag order. The short answer, yes. Yes, he did, and he's been held in contempt. Donald Trump's son, Eric, will keep him warm. He joined his father in court today, marking the first time any of the former president's family members have attended his criminal hush money trial.
Everybody knows this trial is a scam.
Witness testimony included Keith Davidson, a lawyer who represented former Playboy model Karen McDougal and porn actor Stormy Daniels. Negotiations. It all followed Judge Merchan's ruling on prosecutors' requests to hold the former president in contempt of court over alleged violations of a gag order that bars him from speaking publicly about witnesses and jurors in the case. Merchan determined that Trump violated the gag order 9 times and fined him $9,000. The judge raising the possibility of jail time, if necessary and appropriate under the circumstances, if the conduct continues.
This is a judge who's conflicted, badly conflicted. I've never seen a judge so conflicted.
But one thing we're sure Trump is happy about, the so-called conflicted judge's decision to allow Trump to attend his son Barron's graduation by taking the day off trial. Manhattan prosecutors say Trump was involved in an illegal scheme to influence the 2016 presidential campaign by burying negative stories. The charges all center on $130,000 in payments that Trump's company made to Michael Cohen. Prosecutors say Trump obscured the true nature of those payments and falsely recorded them as legal expenses. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
First, I'll wipe the yellow stained teeth dry. Let's apply a sensitivity-free, clinically proven whitening method. The V34 serum's whitening results stem from color correction technology. Let me explain. The color purple opposes yellow on the color wheel, hence the white transformation. The V34 uses this process to non-invasively whiten teeth. You can see this work in clinical application and for at-home users.
Oh my God.
If you buy this product, get another completely free in this new bundle. I definitely recommend it.
Former President Donald Trump sat down for a lengthy interview with Time, and he had some interesting things to say about the ongoing war in Gaza, and more importantly, in regard to his critique of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, the conversation surrounding the issue of Israel started with the national politics reporter for Time, his name is Eric Cortellessa, asking Donald Trump whether he would be willing to put conditions on military aid to Israel. So at first he asks the question, Trump didn't answer it directly. He just kind of went on and on about all the wonderful things he did for Israel when he was in office. But then you have the reporter asking him again. Eric Cortellessa asks him, so you won't rule out withholding or conditioning aid? And Trump says, no, we have to be, meaning we have to be conditioning the aid. But then he went on to hedge. And what I mean by that is listing all the ways that he has been a massive friend to Israel, saying, look, there's been no president that's done what I've done for Israel. When you look at all the things that I've done, and it starts with the Iran nuclear deal, Bibi Netanyahu begged Obama not to do that deal. I ended that deal, he continues to say. And if they were smart and energetic, other than trying to get Trump, they would have made a deal because they were in bad shape. They should have made a deal with Iran. They didn't prosecute that. They didn't make a deal. But I did Golan Heights. So the second part of what he said there, the graphic that I just read to you, to me is super unclear. Who is they? Is he referring to the Israelis when he says they in that comment? And what I noticed is, while he did certainly have some critique of Benjamin Netanyahu, that was clear, he did also speak from both sides of his mouth, which is what he typically does with controversial issues. And we'll get to more of that in just a minute.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who can make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's going to make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, my overall read on it is that the upside of Trump is that he's so unpredictable. Why is that an upside in this particular case? Because you know what the establishment is going to give you. If whether it's Nikki Haley or Joe Biden, they're going to back Israel 100%, no matter what happens. Doesn't matter if there's 2,000 dead Palestinians, 20,000, 200,000. You know that they're going to support. They're going to wag their finger and support Israel 1,000,000%, right? With Trump, at least he's unpredictable, so you never know. But everything else is a disaster on this issue. So he keeps bragging about how, hey, I got them Golan Heights, which they were supposed to return to Syria. I guess we're just stealing land now. And I can go on and on, but all the times. But guys, what does this depend on? It depends on only one thing, whether Miriam Adelson gives him the money or doesn't.
And that's going to come up to some extent later in this portion of the interview. So let's get to the Benjamin Netanyahu criticism. So the reporter asks, is it time for Netanyahu to go? And Trump responds, well, I had a bad experience with Bibi, and it had to do with Soleimani, referring to the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani, who Donald Trump, of course, assassinated. Because, as you know, by now, he dropped out just before the attack. And I said, what's that all about? Because that was going to be a joint, and all of a sudden, we were told that Israel was not doing it. So he was expecting a joint press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu after he ordered the assassination, Trump ordered the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. Netanyahu dropped out last minute, apparently, according to Trump's version of events. And it seems like he has held a grudge about that. He says, I was not happy about that. That was something not. And I want to remind you of something else he said about Netanyahu in just a moment. But Jake, jump in.
Yeah. So he's got a couple of beefs with Netanyahu, but this clarifies which one got under his skin the most. Because he also didn't like that Netanyahu didn't lie about the 2020 election and pretend that Trump won, which would have been so bizarre, even for a monster like Netanyahu to do. Because he wanted Biden, he sent him a whole bucket of money, right? So, but that turns out to be the minor thing. The major thing is, and this is what it appears that Israel does fairly regularly, which is tell America, you go do this, go kill the top Iranian general. Oh, we're right behind you, big guy. We're right behind you. And then Netanyahu is a lot like Trump, so he screwed Trump. And Trump's like, I'm not the guy who gets screwed. I'm the guy who does the screwing. What the hell is this? I thought we were doing it together. And it turns out, of course, Netanyahu lied to him and said, oh, golly gee, did I get America to do an assassination for me? I guess I did. But my fingerprints aren't on it. But, brother, when you deal with Trump, he's going to out you. He's not going to listen to any normal diplomacy.
So I want to remind you of something that Donald Trump specifically said in regard to Benjamin Netanyahu several years ago when he was in office. This was during an interview with Axios for their podcast. Let's listen in.
You've probably heard that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, or Bibi as he's called, were best buds, that it was a bromance. Well, turns out that's bull. By the end of his presidency, Donald Trump couldn't stand Netanyahu. He thought Netanyahu was disloyal and ungrateful for everything he had done for him. By the time I talked to Trump in April 2021, he was over Bibi.
I haven't spoken to him since. I got to talk to him.
So Trump has had some negative feelings toward Netanyahu, which probably made him feel freed up enough to say some critical things about Netanyahu in the context of this interview, because he attacked Netanyahu in regard to his failures in protecting Israelis on October 7th. He said, I would say that what happened on the October 7th should have never happened. It happened on Netanyahu's watch. And I think it's had a profound impact on him, despite everything, because people said that shouldn't have happened. And then he goes on to talk about the hostages and the failure to get the hostages released. We'll get to that in just a moment, James.
Yeah, I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying, because that kind of will show you why Donald Trump can't be trusted on this issue at all. Having said that, he does have a second advantage here, which is he doesn't like to be slapped across the face. And so Biden doesn't mind at all. So that
Happens every day.
Yeah, then he'll say, I told Netanyahu that he is not to do X. Netanyahu will come out like 30 minutes later, a worldwide press conference, and go, I'm doing X, what are you going to do with it? Slap him across the face.
Can I actually give an example from today? So right now, and this is why I didn't care to cover the ceasefire negotiations that are happening in Cairo, because I just know that they're going to fall apart. And today is a perfect example of why. So Netanyahu wants to invade Rafah. They're already doing airstrikes in Rafah, but they want to do a full-blown invasion into Rafah, which would be devastating for the civilian population that is, basically sheltering there. More than 1 million displaced Palestinians. Well, Netanyahu made clear that whether there is a ceasefire agreement or not, the IDF will invade Rafah. And then he'll turn around and say, we haven't come to a ceasefire agreement because Hamas refuses to agree to anything. They have outrageous demands. Well, a ceasefire would require both sides to cease fire. An invasion into Rafah after forging a ceasefire would violate the ceasefire, which shows that Netanyahu is engaging in these negotiations in bad faith.
Yeah, and so, look, I posted on social media that because CNN was reporting that it was going to be a permanent ceasefire, and I was like, dang it, Hamas should definitely take that permanent ceasefire, and Israel actually withdraws from Gaza. So I'm not looking at it like, oh, the Palestinian side, the Israeli side. I'm looking at, hey, do we have a real peace here, offer here? Because I would love that, because it would save lives on both sides, right? But then, of course, it was a trick. Of course, it wasn't a permanent ceasefire. It's 40 days, and they say, after that, we're going to level Rafah. So, and then they go, I can't believe Hamas didn't take it. We were going to wait 40 days before we killed everybody in Rafah, and now they don't want it. They're so unreasonable, right? But the point here in the context of the Trump interview is, Biden will get slapped around by Netanyahu all day long. Open-handed slap, boy. What are you going to do about it? Biden's like, oh, give me $17 more million. Whereas if you slap Trump around, there's some chance he's going to slap you back. So I'm keeping it real. That is an upside of Trump. Having said that, at the end of the day, he's the boy of all the donors anyway.
We're all talking about rhetoric right now, right? And there has been rhetoric on, the Democratic side with Biden and the Republican side with Trump. But the question is, do you actually hold the Israeli government's feet to the fire when it comes to how they carry out war, how they use American weapons that are sent over to them, or the funds that are given to them to buy American weapons? Now, let's get to what Trump had to say about the hostages. He says, they have the most, meaning the Israelis, have the most sophisticated equipment. They had, everything was there to stop that, meaning to stop what happened on October 7th. And a lot of people knew about it, thousands and thousands of people knew about it, but Israel didn't know about it. And I think he's being blamed for that very strongly, being blamed. And now you have the hostage situation. So it's difficult to understand what specifically he's referring to when he says thousands and thousands of people knew. Is he referring to the intelligence that he had prior to the attack? and just kind of brush under the rug and discredit. Remember, there was an intelligence report. There was someone within the Israeli military or intelligence community who was raising a red flag about what Hamas was planning to do, but they didn't think that Hamas had the capacity or capability to carry out the type of attack that they did on October 7th. So I think that's what he's referring to, but I don't know for sure.
It's not that important, but my reading of that particular part was that no, he was referring to the thousands of Palestinians or Hamas members who knew that particular thing because they were working. The Hamas guys were actually doing it, so they had spread it to so many people, yet Israeli intelligence couldn't figure it out. But Trump is not a guy known for doing a lot of reading or having a lot of information. As Anna points out, Israeli intelligence did know about it, Netanyahu did know about it, they just chose not to do anything because they didn't take it seriously.
Now, moving on, he says of the hostages, and this is really devastating because when you stop and think about how some of this is very likely true, it is heartbreaking. He says, I think you have very few hostages left. You know, they talk about all of these hostages. I don't believe these people are able to even wanting to take care of people as negotiations. I think he's referring to Hamas and how they're treating the hostages. I think the hostages are going to be far fewer than people think, which is a very sad thing. And I will say this, Bibi Netanyahu rightfully has been criticized for what took place on October 7th. And look, we don't know how many hostages are left. You know, Hamas has released some of the hostages who luckily are still alive, and you know they're speaking under duress, which is why I feel uncomfortable airing those videos. So we know that some of them are alive. We just don't know how many of them, given the siege of the Gaza Strip, given the lack of humanitarian aid going into the Gaza Strip, given the aerial bombardments that have taken place. It's really uncertain. So I think Trump is right about questioning the number of hostages that remain alive.
Yeah, that part is probably true.
Yeah. All right, final thing I'll bring up is he has seemed to have soured on a two-state solution, but I want to go to what he had to say about Adelson, because at the end of the day, he's going to listen to his donors. I mean, historically, if you look at his track record, he has carried out what his donors have wanted. So he regurgitated some of the pro-Israel talking points meant to justify the persecution, repression, and even killings of Palestinians. He says children grow up and they're taught to hate Jewish people at a level that nobody thought was possible. And I had a friend, a very good friend, Sheldon Adelson, who felt that it was impossible to make a deal because the level of hatred was so great. And so Trump also said that Adelson loved Israel more than anything else. He loved Israel and he wanted to protect Israel, and he felt that it was impossible to make a deal because of the level of hatred. The reporter asked, do you feel that way now? And Trump said, I disagreed with it, but so far he hasn't been wrong.
So now that gets into things. So one's the small note, the other was giant. The small note is Adelson's vicious racist against Muslims. And it's so ironic that he talks about it. Now he's passed away, but that he talks about, the Palestinians hate us so much. He funds every politician who allows Israel to kill as many Palestinians as humanly possible while talking about how bad the Palestinians are. Come on, get out of here, man. They think it's people like Adelson and almost all of mainstream media and almost every politician in the country make it sound like the Palestinians are occupying the Israelis, and that they have brutalized them, and that they've killed 34,000 Israelis, starved nearly 1 million Israelis, as if Palestinians are the strong ones, etc. All that is just nothing but projection. Sheldon Adelson's heart was filled with nothing but hatred. Okay? So if you don't know who he is, he was a casino owner. Now his wife, Miriam Adelson, has inherited his fortune. He was one of the richest people in the world. He made a lot of his money in Macau, China. Was brought up on corruption charges related to China, and guess who let him out of those charges? Donald Trump. With a slap on the wrist. He also wanted to shut down internet gambling, and while Trump was in office, they shut down internet gambling. Why? Because Sheldon Adelson ordered Donald Trump to do it. Same reason why they moved the embassy to Jerusalem. And my favorite part, and I wrote all about this in my book, Justice is Coming. At the end, Trump threw in a pair of Ginsu knives and a Presidential Medal of Honor for Miriam Adelson, Sheldon's wife, okay? Making a mockery of our country. Sitting up against Sudan, but he really gave her one of, not one of, the top medal we have. Okay, oh, you have given me so much money in bribes. Here's a nice little trinket for your wife. Now that he's passed away, Trump is busy kissing Miriam Adelson's ass. And as soon as she ponies up the money, he'll turn around right away and go, I love you. I don't know what we're talking about. I just made a deal. And I'm now Bibi's boy. And I'll do whatever Bibi tells me to do. Because that's what he did when he was in office. Sheldon Adelson gave him $100 million through the super PACs, dark PACs, etc. in 2016, and he did it again in 2020. $100 million. And I'm so angry at the Democrats for never pointing it out because they're so intensely corrupt that they didn't even bother mentioning a $100 million bribe that Donald Trump got. And of course, they do everything Israel asks, so they didn't point out that Trump does everything Israel asks. And you know Trump has no boundaries. So if Miriam bribes him enough or other people, he'll come in and go, yeah, you know what? I hate Muslims. What do I goddamn about Muslims? I'll let they're satisfied myself, right? Kill them all! Kill their family members. That's what he said last time. Ban them from the country. They're all terrorists, etc. So it depends. Maybe we get lucky and Trump miraculously doesn't get bribed by Adelson or someone else. Or
the criticisms from the America First, portion of his base start to go after him hard enough that he reconsiders whether that money is worth it.
Yeah, I mean, MAGA, where are you at? I mean, I know they don't know because the right-wing media never talks about Donald Trump's corruption. And the funny part is the mainstream media never talks about his corruption because then they'd have to talk about corruption overall. And they'd have to talk about campaign contributions.
True.
Right?
Yep.
So his biggest weakness, MAGA doesn't know, independents don't know, and I would be super curious to find out what MAGA thinks. If they find out that Donald Trump has been Sheldon Adelson's bitch this whole time, that he walked him around in a leash. America first. Give me another medal, bitch. Right? That's what Sheldon did with Donald. So let's see what Donnie is going to do next. But don't judge what he says today. Wait till he gets bribed or doesn't get bribed. That will determine what Donald Trump does, because that's all he cares about is the money. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and right after they air. So all that, all you have to do is click that join button right underneath the video.
Mr. Sauer? Mr. Chief Justice, inmates face the court. Without presidential immunity from criminal prosecution, there can be no presidency as we know it. For 234 years of American history, no president was ever prosecuted for his official acts. The framers of our Constitution viewed an energetic executive as essential to securing liberty. If a president can be charged, put on trial, and imprisoned for his most controversial decisions as soon as he leaves office, that looming threat to thwart the president's decision-making precisely when bold and fearless action is most needed. Every current president will face de facto blackmail and extortion by his political rivals while he is still in office. The implications of the court's decision here extend far beyond the facts of this case. Could President George W. Bush have been sent to prison for obstructing an official proceeding or allegedly lying to Congress to induce war in Iraq? Could President Obama be charged with murder for killing U.S. citizens abroad by drone strike? Could President Biden someday be charged with unlawfully inducing immigrants to enter the country illegally for his border policies? The answer to all these questions is no. Prosecuting his official acts is an innovation with no foothold in history or tradition and incompatible with our constitutional structure. The the original meaning of the executive vesting clause, the framers' understanding and intent, in unbroken historical tradition spanning 200 years, and policy considerations rooted in the separation of powers, all counsel against it. I welcome the court's questions.
Mr. Sauer, to your last point, could you be more precise as to the source of immunity?
The source of immunity is principally rooted in the executive vesting clause of Article 2, Section 1.
How?
The source of it, Justice Thomas, I think is, as you described in your separate opinion in Civitovsky, for example, that the executive vesting clause does not include only executive powers laid out explicitly therein, but encompasses all the powers that were originally understood to be included therein. And Marbury against Madison itself provides strong evidence of this kind of immunity, a broad principle of immunity that protects the president's official acts from scrutiny, direct sitting in judgment, so to speak, of the Article 3 courts. That matches the original understanding of the executive.
So how exactly would we determine what an official act is?
I point the court to two cases for that. Obviously, Fitzgerald against Nixon is the best guidance that the court gives, or the court adopted the outer perimeter test, and this court engaged in analysis there that's very instructive here, where it looked at the level of specificity at which the acts are described. In that case, the civil case here would be the indictment.
What if you have, let's say, the official act is appointing ambassadors, and the president appoints a particular individual to a country, but it's in exchange for a bribe. Somebody says, I'll give you $1 million if I made the ambassador to whatever. How do you analyze that?
That, I think, would fall under this court's discussion in Brewster, where the court held with respect to legislative acts that bribery is not an official act, which also matches the common law background. So the way that this court in Brewster kind of sliced at the joint was to say accepting the bribe and the agreement to sex the bribe are not official acts. That's private conduct.
Okay, it's not.
Appointment would be essentially an unrestrictable power of this court that Congress couldn't directly regulate.
It's not, accepting the bribe isn't an official act, but appointing an ambassador is certainly within the official responsibilities of the president. So how does your official acts or the official acts boundary come into play when it's going to be official, assuming that the president is innocent. But the whole question is whether he's going to be found innocent or guilty.
Again, I think Brewster and Johnson do address that, or very persuasively, at least in a slightly different context. Brewster and Johnson say the indictment has to be expunged of all the immune official acts. So there has to be determination what's official, what's not official.
Well, you expunge the official. You say, okay, we're prosecuting you because you accepted $1 million. They're supposed to not say what it's for, because the what's for part is within the president's official duties.
There has to be, we would say, independent source of evidence for that. And keep in mind that this indictment charges what this court has described as unrestrictable powers of the president. So the logical premise of this indictment is that Congress, by passing vague and general criminal statutes, has purported to directly regulate the president's exercise of things like the exercise of the appointment and removal power, things like his ability to speak directly to the American public, core exercises of his authority under the Recommendations Clause to recommend to Congress, members of Congress, the measures he thinks necessary and expedient. So you have an indictment in this case that goes right to the heartland of the president's powers, that alleges a whole series of official acts and tries to tie them together by saying, well, there's a private aim or a private purpose in that case. And that's a situation which, of course, could be alleged in virtually any indictment.
Counsel, it can be alleged, but it has to be proven. Malum in se is a concept long viewed as appropriate in law, that there's some things that are so fundamentally evil that they have to be protected against. Now, I think, and your answer below, I'm going to give you a chance to say if you stay by it. If the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him, is that within his official acts that for which he can get immunity?
It would depend on the hypothetical, but we can see that could well be an official
They
act.
could, and why? Because he's doing it for personal reasons. He's not doing it like President Obama is alleged to have done it, to protect the country from a terrorist. He's doing it for personal gain. And isn't that the nature of the allegations here? That he's not doing these acts in furtherance of an official responsibility. He's doing it for personal gain.
I agree with that characterization of the indictment, and that confirms immunity, because the characterization is that there's a series of official acts that were done for an unlawful.
No, because immunity says even if you did it for personal gain, we won't hold you responsible. How could that be?
That's an extremely strong doctrine in this court's case law in cases like Fitzgerald.
Well, we go back to Justice Thomas's question, which was, where does that come from? There are amici here who tell us that the founders actually talked about whether to grant immunity to the president. And in fact, they had state constitutions that granted some criminal immunity to governors. And yet, they didn't take it up. Instead, they passed an impeachment clause that basically says you can't remove the president from office except by a trial in the Senate, but you can impeach him after. So, or you can impose criminal liability. We would be creating a situation in which we would be saying, this is what you're asking us to say.
Hello, is that Mike?
Yeah, hi, Brenda.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing? I've got Vince Lalonde here with me, and Harry Cooner. Yeah, I wanted to have a chat with you. I'm sure you've heard by now because it seems like it's out there in the media quite a bit. We have a special council meeting today.
Yeah.
At sorry?
I said yes.
Okay. We have a special council meeting today at 2:00 to deal with the report that we've received from our staff as a response to the decisions that we have to make on the conditions.
All I do is fucking talk.
And I wanted to just let you know that ahead of time. I fully expect actually that council are going to reaffirm their decision to keep the RCMP, and they will acknowledge the conditions, of course, and we know how we're going to deal with that. That's all in the report. And so I wanted to let you know that ahead of time. The meeting is at 2:00 today, so probably the decision will be made, and we'll be ready to move on shortly thereafter. Of course, because the report is all a report that was done because of NDA signed, there won't be a lot that we will or can release. But I wanted to let you know that. As I said, I expect that council will reaffirm the decision, and so with that, I'm reaching out to you now to let you know and hope that we can have that cooperation, because I'd really like to see this get done in an effective, efficient, and wholesome way, working together to move forward. So that's really the call. I did talk to the Premier.
If these two walked into any Princess Auto or Lord Co., they would be the two biggest tools in there.
Going to be giving us a hand in all this. Yeah, that's really.
And thanks for that. And I appreciate that. Look, I know this has not been an easy issue. This has been a difficult issue to us. It's hard. It's hard for me as well. It's one of the most challenging things I've ever had to deal with. And I did speak with the Premier. about your call this morning. And I just want to also make one point. Look, I have no personal issue with you on this issue, so I don't want you to think that I do. So I just want to.
We are part of that process. This universe is a great.
The province says millions of dollars will be spent on.
Okay, I don't understand why sometimes it'll say no one's watching, but people are still commenting. That's one of my first things. My second thing, ASL. Last I checked, I'm 30. I probably don't seem like I'm 30. I get carded everywhere I go. Fucking the guy had a damn fucking total dick about it too. Can I get these ideas that expired? Sorry, I've been like homeless for like 5 years. I didn't even know my Medicare was expired. Thanks a lot. You got that song so man. Okay. What was I doing? ASL. H-sec. Oh, okay, you're old. Back in like the Habbo Hotel fucking days. Age, sex, location. That's what people used to say on like little chat sites. Yeah, no, I mostly relate to like senior males. Women don't really like me ever. Very seldom do I get along with females. But apparently I mostly relate with like 60, 70-year-old men. They think I'm funny. Anyway, my channel was originally started like 6 years ago. 14. You're not okay, so you're not even that old. Like what? Generally, I tend to hang out with people that are at least like 10 years old. No, I started my channel like 6 years ago because I was in an abusive relationship, and I was it was for evidence, so I would be accused of where I was. Yeah, but it could be just a lot of people didn't have like fucking computers like I did because I was an unparented child. Anyway, so I started doing the live streaming as evidence of where I am, which is basically like doing stuff like this, or like outside chalking as a grown adult. I'm not out getting fucked up. Everyone thinks I'm like a party fucking hardcore. I'm like, yeah, this is like extend to my hardcore party. Don't even get me started. I don't know if you know what the like Mickey Mouse job. Dom says it all the time, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that means because he's like fucking a million years old. But this girl started like, I think she did Airbnb, and like every month she just kick the person out and just get a new person in. I was, because it's gonna be a store down here. So I'm doing it kind of like as a surprise for Dom when he's finally ready to move stuff in here. And oh my god, Montreal, fucking Quebecois. I'm actually from Chateauguay. Chat Rapper Life. It's not a good place to be. It used to be a good place to, like, I guess, raise children, but anything that's not bolted to the ground is fair game. Michigan. Your name is it really? I thought that's illegal. Also, apparently it's illegal to name your kid Satan and Lucifer. I thought Lucifer was a really cool name. Apparently you're not allowed to name your kid fucking Lucifer. As for my hair, how many colors do I have? Everything but orange. I think I'm gonna add more blue though. Okay. I'm not gonna flip my hair around. Okay, these are starting to be weird fucking questions. Bro. If you guys start asking me like flip your hair around or like wear a bandana or fake snore, I'm gonna start to fucking ban people. Oh, fucking so weird. Guy always asked me to wear a bandana. He used to ask me to fake snore. I'm like, why is that your thing? I moved from being annoyed and irritated about it to like I'm genuinely concerned for this man's mental health. Yeah, I think about that. Not enough to do runway. Put it that way. Thank you. You're like probably the third person in like 6 years who's just not. Like, I don't understand. It's the internet. There's porn. Go watch fucking porn. Men are fucking gross. I wish I could have been a lesbian. I just didn't have it. Gabby Boye. She's basically the way dude. I had to be really drunk too, and she was crying me over her fucking girlfriend up here. And she tried to put her hand on my shirt. I was like, okay, this is the end of this. We are not into that. Men are so gross, no. I don't know. I'm sure you're not. Pink, green, blue, and purple. Orange, because orange is ugly. I say that to people at the bus stop who are trying to get a smoke off me. I'll just be like, no hablo, guys. Sorry. And they just look at me really confused. Cool, then you can stay. Also, the wife and kids thing, don't use that. Just be like, I'm not intending on hitting on you. My doctor said that to me. My GP, my family doctor. It's weird, eh? I'm coming up in people's newsfeed for some reason. Super weird. Like, about a month ago, before I got banned for the second time, if I get banned one more time, they don't even tell you what you get banned for. And like every time what do you call it? Disputed the ban, and like on a Sunday, they declined, or they didn't approve my whatever. Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Oh man, obviously Donald Trump. I hate it. I hate that I like him. Well, I don't like him, but like it's pretty funny, you gotta admit. I liked Joe Biden, but the man has fucking dementia. He doesn't even know where he is most of the time. It's fucking elderly abuse. It's very sad. You better not. I will be fucking pissed. I hate Donald Trump. He's such a fucking... But honestly, watching Joe Biden is like elderly abuse. It hurts my heart. God, he's just like, he's such a fucking... He's pompous. I did like him, but to be honest, he's running off his name. And from personal experience with my own prime minister, Yeah, I'm about done with people getting their fucking jobs from their daddies. Like, the dead one, apparently he was the best president that America's ever had. My dad was a little kid when he got murdered. My dad's super into conspiracy theories, so like he's super into that. And he said he would have been the best president of history. But I think what's his name, Robert Kennedy, I think he's just running on his name, to be honest. And I also have a hard time listening to him talk. I feel bad. But like his voice is just, it hurts me. I am Spanish. I can count to 10 in Spanish. Unos, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve. Oh, we're 10. Oh, because come on. Really? Fucking JFK was a charming, handsome. Thank you. Appreciate it. A total fucking lie, but that's okay. Yeah, no, fucking JFK was fucking hot as shit. He was like had that what do you call it, charisma. Donald Trump is a fucking, he avoided the draft because from gout. His daddy no one helped me, I'm self-made. My daddy only gave me $1 million. Like, yeah, but once again, the giant turd and the what do you call it? Giant douche and turd sandwich. They're bullshit. Like, it's all fucking all this reputation. It's all has to do with your fucking family name. Like, all it has to do with what class you're in. It's a big fucking. It's not real. Like, even my parliament. You look at my politicians in Canada. They're at it in parliament, but fucking they're walking out the door, shaking hands and laughing. It's like, oh my god, a politician lied. And Trump, the only reason I like him at this point is because basically the amount of people who talk shit about him ended up being what made him valid. That's fine. My Spanish is really bad. That's what happens when you impose a language on somebody. Now, I not only don't know French, but I also barely speak English. I started working when I was like 8 at a truck stop. Because that's what they used to do when you couldn't afford a babysitter. Fucking, put your kids in daycare. Fucking, you want your kids to get fucking abused and then fucking wonder why they don't listen to you when they're 16, 17. They're like, I know my kids respect me because you didn't really raise them. Yeah, your parents used to bring you to work. So I've been working since I was about 8. So I spent the past 6 years homeless. So Trudeau is French, yes. Well, barely. The Quebecois, they're very I don't have children. Fuck no. I got a dog. Oh, no. Do I want to be miserable? Not really. It's not kids that I don't like. It's the parents that I don't like. I don't want to deal with parents. Fuck that. My kid is just a little bit more advanced than other kids. What? I would love to get a pit bull, but I'll be honest, I have a Shih Tzu, and I come from a cat family, a crazy fucking cat family. We had 14 cats at one point. Crazy cat family. That's fine. There's no cats in this house. I want stuff. I want things. I want nice things that don't smell like cat piss. I don't do litter boxes and shit, but I'm looking for a new dog. I'm in the market, but I'm not paying like $250 from a dog from a fucking SPCA. Fuck that. That's what I mean. Like, oh my god! And it's like fucking after a year of having a large breed dog that someone obviously cannot handle, they get rid of it and then they get a kid. Yo, I'm thinking about hopping the border to Mexico. I'm not even kidding. If Trudeau gets reelected, I would not be surprised if Mexico fucking locked their borders up. Because I'm ready to hop the fucking border in the opposite direction. Fucking not sticking around for that. I voted for Jagmeet Singh last election. What a fucking waste of a vote. I hope it's worth it. I hope whatever they're blackmailing him with is fucking worth it, because like fuck. Talk about bending over. I don't really want to vote for Pierre Poilievre either. I'm not a conservative, so. Oh, my dog is 14 too, and I'm freaking out. I need to get another dog before he dies, because like if he dies and I don't have like another dog by then, I'm gonna become a homicidal maniac. Like, buildings will burn. Yeah, but like conservatives, like up until this point, they're like they know they're crazy. Like they know how crazy they are, and they all use religion to kind of push their narratives, even if like everything they do goes against the religion. Like as long as they go to church on Sunday, I don't know, it's fucking stupid. I'm not into like oil either, like. Or like fossil fuels, but like I don't think everything should be like fucking Teslas and fucking like. I think there's just like a decent balance. Oh, I saw this cool native reserve where they were fully powered by hydro. They have like I guess it's like a marine kind of, or it's a very strong stream that powers like a fucking mill. It was really cool. Nah, honestly, I see more people speaking English than Spanish at this point. It's because all you people want to come to fucking the West. I don't know why. It's a joke come here. Like we took in what do you call it? Syrians and African countries started coming here by the Quebec border because it was like an what's it called? Oh my god, Roxham Road for like over a year and a half. People are just walking right on in, like, and then we picked them up. We dumped them off at a fucking homeless shelter. Like, so even the homeless don't want to stay at the homeless shelters here. I honestly don't understand why that would, like, there is nowhere else in the world where this is a fucking problem. In Quebec, with the French language law shit, I can't even tell you. Also, we had mandatory curfew at 8 o'clock for 5.5 months. Just like, I don't know why no one's talking about this. Like, it's could blow, like, the cops would come and give you a ticket and make sure you go home. And I was like, okay, well, can't I just pay them on the spot? Why would you not want to learn more languages? I just don't understand what this fucking issue is. Quebecois is not even French. If I speak French, like Quebecois, to a person in France or Paris, they'll just speak English to me. I'm like, well, why? Like, because it's insulting. It's like, oh, fuck, that's what French is supposed to sound like? Sounds like you're speaking cursive. No wonder it's fucking insulting. It's a fucking made-up language. French and English. If I don't know a word in French, I say it in English with French accent. They're like Nazi. They're terrible. They're just terrible. Don't ever come to Quebec. It's just awful here. They go to Maine, Old Orchard, and they're like expecting people who are working to speak French to them. Like, they're terrible. I hate it here. They won't let me leave. Okay, I'm gonna get back into this. I'm sorry. I've been just like talking nonstop, and it's because I've been like so deprived of steady kind of like human social contact that I get really excited, and I'm just like, and I don't shut the fuck up. Oh god. Wow. But see, there's a huge thing with Detroit and Chicago. Like, I think that's what started the trucker protest. Well, I don't think that's what started it. I think that's what got my government so upset. Because all our auto manufacturers are in Chicago. 19. I don't know. I guess Montreal's okay for the. Not even. I used to be a club rat. I started clubbing when I was like 16. By 19, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm over it. But like, if you go for one night and you know what clubs to go to, like you have to stand in a line for like an hour and like 30 minus 30, like, I don't know. It's not really worth it. It's so expensive. If you're not a girl, it's so expensive. Oh, this is bad. I feel like it's not your fault though, because every time a Detroit flight would come in, when I worked at the airport, a Detroit flight would come in, and you fucking know, because they're over at my fridges, and they have their hand, and they'll just pick the bottle and look at it, I'm like, it's a fucking soda. It's the first time I'm seeing soda. Like, just either fucking take it or don't. And they're just being sneaky. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit biased. I want to go to New Orleans because pit bulls and parolees in New Orleans. I want to go spend a year volunteering at that place. Dude, seriously, don't watch that show. You will literally fucking cry forever. I used to fucking, it was mostly gambling at the Super Bowl. But the Super Bowl is fucking lame now. I have the Dolphins, Minnesota. No. Anyway, whatever the Dolphins are, it's a fucking Letterman jacket from one of the Super Bowls. Super fucking old. Really, really nice. I like the Giants. I'm basic as fuck. Yeah. Yeah, the Giants. Final answer. I used to like the Expos. That's not football, obviously. That's baseball. Aw, soccer, really? It's like watching a giant game of Pong. Just like fucking forever. See, I don't even know like the players anymore. I used to be best friends with a girl who her father was the guy who filmed the games for the Raiders. No. Not really into sports anymore. Ever since they fucked up the expo. And they were like, here, the halves. I don't know. I find the people who talk about sports are the people who have not played sports in like 30 years. Like, okay, let's do this.
Vape detectors in schools.
Fuck me.
Seul Electrolux dispose de la technologie Smart Boost pour l'élimination des tâches la plus efficace en prolongeant la durée de vie.
You people just won't stop.
I quote.
The province says millions of dollars will be spent on vape detectors in schools, but school boards say they still need more direction on just what the money is intended for. The response follows the weekend's announcement from the Ministry of Education on vaping and cell phones in schools, calling them both big distractions. Sean Cowan has been following this for us today and joins us now with more. Hey, Sean.
Good evening, Matt. Well, one of the big announcements yesterday was $30 million for these vape detectors, kind of like smoke detectors in schools. But the Ministry of Education has made no recommendations on these actual detectors, therefore leaving it in the hands of the school boards. So I did talk with some students today, and they tell me that vaping in schools is a big distraction. Vaping in schools is illegal, but parents, teachers, and students know what's happening.
In the bathroom, in the washrooms, in the hallways, in the bathrooms.
A lot of kids in there, especially around lunch, they're vaping and it's hard to get in and out.
The Ministry of Education says it's now going to ban vaping at schools, even though it was never allowed in the first place. Yesterday, the government said it's strengthening the rules around students caught with vapes or cigarettes. Students will be required to surrender these products, and parents will be notified immediately.
Vaping is a huge issue. I don't think in the last couple of years I've heard as much about bathroom issues as I have in my whole 30 plus years of teaching. Vaping is a massive issue. The washrooms are not safe for many students in the province because of groups of others gathering there.
The government also announced $30 million to install vape detectors and other security upgrades in schools. But
for context, there's about 4,800 schools in the province of Ontario. 30 million. I don't think that's going to hit every bathroom across the province.
While the government says the $30 million is for vape detectors, it's up to the individual school boards to spend the money how they want.
For us, it's not sufficient to just say we're going to buy a bunch of detectors. For us, the key point is what we really want to see.
Stop. Marijuana cigarettes. I only smoke McDonald's. I sell smokes. Native smokes. Kind of starting into the vaping thing. We're not doing them, selling them, but personally, I don't think it's a good investment, but I think we should stick with the weed. Weed is not drugs. Yeah, that's why I voted for Trudeau, because he made pot legal, or he said he was going to make pot legal. I literally printed out the manual for the regulations that were going to be in place. Basically, you'd be a McDonald's of weed. Like, he fucked it up so. Honestly, I do not think this is drugs. Like, even, I'm not into the hallucinogens either, and like, I was 12 when I started smoking weed, but like, for kids that have fucking 100 seizures a day, it makes them stop having seizures, like, that's fucking incredible. Like, it takes people's pains away, like, it makes people sleep when they're not able to sleep from being too stressed. However, I don't think children should be smoking weed. First of all, you're a teenager. You honestly don't have that much to be stressed about that you should be smoking pot. And I don't know. I'm very passionate about pot. So that's my upcoming business. Once Trudeau's gone, I'm gonna have a weed bakery. I'm gonna make edibles, and they're gonna taste delicious because now, that's funny. No, oh, weed's an amazing thing. If everyone just smoked weed, everyone would be so much nicer to each other. Like, literally, my brother-in-law tried to beat me up over me making weed butter. And came outside and was just like, cooking drugs in front of my children. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I was laughing. I thought it was a joke. I actually thought he was kidding. I think it's very cool. Mayo is a native last name, isn't it? Hunter. I've heard Hunter. I've never heard someone with, is that your actual legal name? Murder? You have the coolest parents if that's your actual legal given name. You are relatively funny, yes. I'm not doing fucking dad jokes. Once this is done, I never want to be in this basement ever again. Who the fuck uses oil paint on walls? Honestly, there's a lot of times where I'm not even in the video. I'm off doing something else. There'll be like 3 people watching. I'm like, why? When I started doing this, I did not expect people to watch me at all. I'm literally always hungry. I'm always fucking starving to death. I really don't know why I don't have diabetes, to be honest. I started a folder. Just all of pictures of me and mid-eat. People that like gotten over the years. I was like, oh, okay. What do you do? Honestly, I don't work anymore. Well, temporarily, I'm not working for the safety of others. Because I work in customer service. If I have one more person who's fucking rude to me when I'm trying to accommodate them. Oh, fuck. CNC. Computer. Wait, let me guess. Oh! Okay. Interesting. My dad's a mechanic. He worked at Smirnoff for 35 years. And then my grandfather also worked at Metso something. I think he was also and he was an engineer. 2 generations of my family. Cool. Okay, so funny story. When so the way my boyfriend, his pick line was, I think I'm falling in love with you. I was like, pardon? He was just like, I'm gonna make you fall in love with me. Just you watch. I was like, don't you have a girlfriend? He was like, I'm gonna go fix that right now. And he was ran away. But he went and broke up with his girlfriend, and I told him, I was like, well, I hope you didn't jump the gun on that, because I have two rules: no cocaine, no guns. Those were my 2 rules. And he was like, you don't really understand what you're asking me to do, right? I was like, those are my 2. Everything else I couldn't get over, but if you any of those 2 things, I don't want any fucking near me. As it turns out, my boyfriend's like the encyclopedia of guns. Every gun he sees, he can tell me what it is, what year it's from, why it was made. I was like, I only realized this about a year after, that he's like extremely experienced with firearms. I shot a pellet gun once. I pumped it once. It's like an old Vietnam fucking gun, pellet gun, and I pumped it once. And I was the second time, Kenneth was like, really? The reason I've never really bothered to try to use the gun is because I know my first instinct is to want to throw it. So I'm not going to do it. But I figured I want to go to a shooting range and fire a gun, because I cannot have such strong opinions about firearms unless I've actually used one. It's just to reinforce my opinion on it. HK. I know what the idea that is. It's very possible. This, honestly, the YouTubes, all the live streams, they're all super buggy and shit. Like most of the time it says one person watching. I would assume it's like a moderator. But as we now know that there are no real moderators. Here is all I got. I was going to take what do you call it? Engineering course? Well, that was walking around. I feel so bad leaving him upstairs. He's been reverse sneezing so much. His canine is rotten. He won't let me touch it. I'd have to bring him to the fucking vet. Thankfully, it's my old vet. She's now specifically like a dog dentist. Do not bring your fucking animals to the vet. What a fucking scam. Because he's my first dog, so I did not know anything about dogs. I made every fucking mistake possible. Man, they took me for a fucking ride. Echocardiographs every year. And one day they're just like, oh, we're not giving you his prescription for his heart medication anymore. I was like, why? Literally, it's because you need to do the echocardiograph again. I was like, yeah, but I did it last year already. And they're like, well, we recommend it every 6 months now. I was like, fuck this. Like, absolutely not. Ridiculous. Said for fucking like 4 years that he had a heart murmur. They told me I was over exaggerating. And I used to sit and listen to his heartbeat. Because they gave him too many vaccinations when he was a puppy. He gave him 3 shots in one. And I think in those vaccines, there was multiple vaccines within them. Like, he got so sick. Thought he was gonna fucking die. And the whole reason that I got him in the first place was I needed something to live for. I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking kill this dog within the first year of having him. Man, did I walk up the floor. Holy shit. Ugh, oh, actually, that's something fun you might like. So I'm a garbage picker. I dig through people's trash, like a little trash panda. And I found these really great finds. Hang on. Check this out. No. This lady, I have like, I don't know if it's her diary from like 1909 or something. Anyway, she was a plane engineer, and she designed plane engines, I guess. And her husband was a pilot. Oh, I don't know. Anyway. That was very satisfying. Airfoil 63 cord. Just and shown. Limits was specified. Operation. Normal Rig Wing. Nori Aircraft Limited. Anyway, they're all her blueprints from engineering planes. And it's got Rappy on it. Anyway, isn't that fucking nifty? Like, they're really cool. What I was thinking of doing with them, I was thinking in the staircase, it's like fucking Bristol board. And rather than replacing it, I was thinking of like Mod Podging these in the stairs. Like, on the top. There's a bunch of fucking airplane crash reports of like, there's a fucking lot too. Oh my god. Like concerning amount, and it's got all the pilots their tabs for when they would go fucking fly somewhere, and like their fucking their hotel, their food, and all that that's paid for, and it's fucking they kept getting what do you call it, reprimanded for spending too much money. It's really funny actually. So they would just like put it under like an unspecified category. It was really funny, actually, going through those. Anyway, moving on. Armor. Name of face.
Is less students vaping. So what does that mean? That means more information that might require some staff training as well.
And some students say detectors won't work.
I don't think they'd like them. They probably try to like break them, but I don't think it really worked. They just.
As for cell phones, the premier was asked about the new rule today, but did not mention enforcement.
But the teachers want the kids to pay attention. It's as simple as that. It's not that complicated. Don't you?
lot of these towers going up around 2019. There's some researchers that believe that the 1918 flu pandemic that swept across the world was actually electricity in major public spaces. What are your thoughts? You talk to the experts on the rollout of these towers and the rollout of 5G in many places around the same time as COVID. Because a lot of the symptoms, well, first, we'll talk about that in a minute, but a lot of the symptoms of cold and flu can actually coincide with EMF damage. What are your thoughts, or what are the experts that you've interviewed have to say about that?
There's a little bit of data showing that the more electropolluted a city is on these lake levels, and the more people are prone to flu-like illnesses. And there's good reasons to think that radio frequency radiation as an environmental pollutant will impair the immune system. It's not that much of a stretch, because if you look just at the studies around sleep quality, we clearly see that cell phones can impair our ability to sleep soundly because it will interfere with brainwaves. Again, we go back to a bioelectrical component. Our brain needs to go in certain cycles while we sleep, and it displays these brainwaves that we can measure. And when researchers looked at it back in 2008 and even before that, but in 2008 there was a set of studies in healthy participants who do not necessarily feel like they have bad sleep. These are not autoimmune patients, or these are not electrosensitives, just healthy men who try to sleep with a phone next to their head. 30 minutes of exposure was basically led them to have a sleep onset delay of 1 hour. In other words, they were insomniac for an hour after that exposure. So it looks like it's really preventing the brain from doing its job right and falling asleep. Instead, it's keeping you in a state that is not really sleep and not really being awake.
It cure anxiety or something, or it's just functioning anxiety so bad.
Instead of the
So
phone
I
now,
have headphones
I
that
tell
are
you that we have installed cell towers everywhere, and maybe there's a health effect from that.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
it's not that much of a stretch to think that we maybe are impairing the sleep of the entire population in cities more so than in the countryside because
Outside
of
the
this
church had a fucking
intensification
ballroom.
of this electrosmog.
And
So
now
to
there's
speak.
like this
So I think there's
high-pitched
many
fucking
reasons to think that it is becoming harder to keep a good immune system in a city where this electrosmog is higher compared to back in, ancestral levels that we had a few generations ago.
Are there research studies that you've come across as the sleep has been affected? What about behavior, neurological, psychiatric behavior? So you're seeing in these research studies, you're talking to these scientists that have meaning linkages or associations or even causation to things like ADD and ADHD, or to things like brain fog, dementia, depression, etc.
Yeah, the data there is in pregnant moms who are exposed to more cell phones and the risk of their children developing ADD, ADHD symptoms, or even food allergies in certain tests, in certain sets of epidemiological studies. The main researcher that I follow on this is Dr. Hugh Taylor at Yale. So some of these scientists are quite mainstream, which is very frustrating and alarming to me, because we're not talking about, what people online would say, oh, these are fringe scientists or not serious, or
I done goofed. I have to run outside. Fuck. Oh my fucking white penis outside. Oh shit. I got this. Let me use a face plate. You know what? I'll bring this garbage bags. At least one. Okay. Now take on the black spider. Goody. Biggest thing. These two. Already fucking have a pretty good feeling. Both of them are not good. I just really hope he's not something disturbing inside. Oh, yeah. People are sick. People are sick and you're fucked up shit. There. No. Okay. Let's see what's in canister now. We got on the pea corner. Ooh. Okay. There's the stick. This is not useful. I think so. Yeah. This is our chosen stick. Okay. Let's see what I want. Oh, fantastic. Let me see some crunchy. Yeah. Oh, very good. That's awesome. There's something in there. Anyway, just curious. Let's check and do. Okay. Shut the front door. What? Okay. Huh. Sunny. These sunny balls. Epic. One coat hide interior paint. Faster blade. Screw resistant. Yet steady wash green stainless. Acrylic. Comment. And you are. What?
low impact journals and all this. Now you have people from Yale, you have Dr. Marta Herbert at Harvard also who emitted strong concerns over the fact that unborn fetuses are likely to get more epigenetic changes and effects on a developing brain compared to adults. And this is barely being studied as we speak, but the data that Dr. Hugh Taylor looked at, in his opinion, is causative. He said there's a cause and effect when you expose yourself more as a pregnant mom to cell phones or other means that emit radiation. Your offspring will have double the risk of developing behavioral issues. So is it that, it's a sort of stimulatory effect where the nervous system is riled up and you just develop like that? We know that the fetus, when it's forming, is sensing not only the mom's feelings and reality and diet, but also the environment. So if we introduce a native environment that is, let's say, threatening to the nervous system or stimulatory, there's a chance that it will, let's say, be recorded by the body, and later in life we might see impact. So we don't know to this day how much is this contributing to what we're seeing in youth, but it's certainly not helping. And given the fact there's almost half of children in America now that have chronic issues of all types, including obesity and different autoimmune conditions. I think it deserves to be looked at. The problem is that in most discussions, we're only focusing on food, only focusing on habits and different things, and forgetting the environmental component, especially EMS.
OK, vous m'offrez Internet pur fibre, mes chaînes télé préférées, P-Rate pour juste $89.
It's a bit like a time sponge. It's really time consuming. Anything that can help me and make my life easier, give me
5 more minutes to spend with my daughter. I see my friends earlier on Friday night. I'll honestly kick it on.
Sage's tools help small business owners like Gailey have more time for those precious little moments. Sage, helping business flow. Visit sage.com today.
I think it's unfortunately going to be one of those things that catches us so quickly. We're going to have to possibly backtrack on a lot of what we have approved as or not approved, assumed as being safe. Are you seeing any connection with correlation with development of different types of autoimmune disease? You mentioned allergies, you mentioned behavioral issues right now we're exposed. What other kinds of diseases, any other connections that you've seen the scientific community make?
There's not a lot of data on the development of autoimmune diseases, but there's one researcher in particular, Professor Trevor Marshall. He is a researcher in autoimmunity. He published a paper back in 2017 where he looked at, I think it was more than 80 different patients with different autoimmune issues. And what he did was a bit unusual. He had them wear an EMF shielding cap, and literally, a tinfoil hat that some people laugh at. Well, they used that in that study, and he found out that 90% of autoimmune patients responded very positively to wearing this during the night, so they had a sleep improvement. And what he said is this: he said, given that a lot of studies estimate the amount of electrosensitivity, the prevalence of electrosensitivity that is in the population to about 3 to 5%. He said, well, that's unusual that 90% of these patients are getting better, so therefore, autoimmune patients are that much more likely to also suffer from electrosensitivity or get symptoms from these exposures or be sensitive to this radiation, especially during the night. And he said that in the future, we need to look at this EMF mitigation, not only wearing, a cap, but lowering our exposure from devices or even shielding the bedroom, different strategies that can be applied to this. We need to consider this a new line of treatment for autoimmune issues. So he's one guy, right? But I think it's possible that more and more we'll see autoimmune patients look at EMS as possible stressors, keeping their body confused in a state of
couple of follow-up questions to that. For one, are there devices that are accurate, that are available relatively inexpensively for the average consumer to be able to measure and quantify EMS radio frequencies being emitted in their home or in an area like hotspots in the house, for example? Or is there a particular random or 550?
Sure. The one I use these days is called the Sound Protect 33 from France. It's a great meter because it is very simple. I find that a lot of people purchase different detectors, and if the display is complicated and the units of measurement are confusing, it stays in a shelf, in the corner of the garage, and they forget about it. So that's a tool you can actually use, and that's a great detector that measures 2 different types of fields all at once with an LED system. And also it has a sound feature, which is quite important because sometimes our environments are so polluted these days that if you open this detector, the chances are everything will be in the red zone when you approach anything. So just to detect different sources is useful, although I don't think it's needed to have one of these detectors to start mitigating things, because just using certain basic principles like creating distance from devices is a great way to get started and mitigate some of these risks.
Let's talk about, that was my second part of the question, was, there are a lot of commercials now coming out on using these different types of devices to put on your phone or to cover your phone, or even devices in the house. I've seen some of these copper coil devices evidence behind those strategies? Is there great evidence that shows that those things are valuable and are beneficial for people who use them?
It's flimsy. The entire line of evidence, all the science itself, so prone to bias, and some electro-hypersensitive individuals that are very, very sick and know that these EMF exposure is impacting them and causing symptoms. We find certain of these technologies helpful, but I don't consider them to be stay protected. And that's really the difference. A reduction in symptoms does not necessarily equal a reduction in biological effects of EMF. And that's something a lot of people confuse these two. So if I don't feel the exposure, I don't feel a headache, I'm safe. That's not correct, because we know many people who never felt a headache from their phone, and yet they can still develop brain tumor, for example. So that's on a cellular level. The perception of harm does not equal, what is happening, the behind the scenes, so to speak. So it's really important to, if you discover that one of these devices has benefits to your life, that's fine. But it's not a replacement to lowering your by turning off sources or creating distance. So I think that there's a lot of marketing and a limited science, but we don't have the people, it's all a pyramid in your bedroom, and now you're comfortable. This is, there's not one scientist that I know of that endorses the devices. So to this day, some people in fact, I did a little bit some that find benefit from their hypersensitive patients. There are certain negative where I don't know these people or they see but if it helps them, that's fine. But these patients still need to turn off sources and minimize EMF exposure, or else it's like saying, no, don't worry about your nutrition. You can eat McDonald's and Wendy's as long as you take your vitamins. It doesn't work like that. You cannot mitigate, chronic exposure to something that is a stressor with a magic pill. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think 50% better myself. That's why I asked the question. I see a lot of people wearing necklaces, using these little buttons on their stuff, and I just, I'm very speculative about it. I think it's relatively inexpensive, as you said, it makes you feel better than whether you have placebo or not is irrelevant, provided you're not spending hundreds of dollars on something that has no actual beneficial relevance. Because you
They were having a different conversation on
financial stress, right?
that way people are fucking
Money on something. Yes.
hypochondria.
Je ne touche pas besoin d'entrer ça. Depuis des semaines, je teste ma batterie parce que je veux faire ou alors
She's a neuroscientist, executive advisor, and she teaches to overcome these challenges. Is stress contagious? After a cold and wet night, protesters at the McKellen campus were less open to cameras Tuesday. The university warned protesters even before tests started going up. Encampment would be illegal. 4 days in, protesters say if police show up to remove them, that could amplify their message.
This university might want protesters out. Doesn't mean police will go in.
What police do become physically involved is because there's no such thing as emergency, perhaps an emergent situation that you put on stand and for it to take place can be criticized as well.
There is also a battle being fought in this court. Lawyers for 2 Jewish students are seeking an injunction to ban protests within 100 meters of the school. There are videos being presented as evidence.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have having very serious misgivings about reducing content in the subject of personal because I don't find something because I'm bothered particularly by the content I've been producing or even where me. So one of these things when you look back on it, you go, oh, I've done it like that. Pretty much having said that, this video is not about I have deleted what happened with it. The content where's the evidence I have to level very, very avoid doing this. Avoid doing this. If we're going to be really honest, what we have
First, like the Yellowstone, let's apply sensitivity 3 prove and white. The B34 serum white results stem.
I've known since 2016 that I've been very clear since 2016 that you can do it and you can take it completely the wrong way. I was actually one of my videos, comments on one of my videos was actually listening to an echo. And it's something fairly loud about it it's usually present at the moment. And it's probably saying she's upset that watched videos that she showed on it, and then one child who died tragically several years ago because he was saying to let go of the past for her child's any plans. So she's really upset. And I personally think you can start shocked by Jenny despite your meditation and everything else. When you're facing and is disturbed. It is disturbing. You would like to play the game separate from the not right the boundaries not something else is in a certain state or a certain matter or something. But anyway, I was very say anything about your performance sure that the opposite really didn't mention anything about it. Didn't mention anything about multi-brain. Say that. I've never heard Edge nutcase serial killer cult leader ever say if you lost the loved one, a spouse or children or whatever, I'm sure somebody in the comments will say, well, you don't know about Wilbur Waterface in 1972, you know, okay, guy, I guess, but I guess send him back before. And so she accused him of saying something that not only did he not say, but that nobody, very few, basically think nobody had voiced it. So then recently, the psychotherapist contacted me and said, "Oh, I'm worried that people will misconstrue this information about art." I hope they do. I hope they do. I know that the online narcissist community has long been a blanket and sort of a hot box for people. And I've long known, certainly for 4 years, misconstrued. You could say literally anything misconstrued to be something which you can't help that. And that doesn't mean you should decide to decide now where even saying nothing can be considered a very direct line. So you have to say something, you have to try and tell the truth. And what material is consumed masturbation way. It kind of functions as an anesthetic. I know because I use it myself. I don't listen to narcissism channels now. That's not where I'm tuning it. So what I wanted to say is a few things. Number one, I've long had misgivings about reducing content about this subject. Not because it's not interesting, not because it's not relevant, not because people don't need to know this. And I don't think it's always being misconstrued, and I don't think it's always being misused, but I know it's being misconstrued and misused by a personal way. And it does create an echo chamber. It does create a sort of a closed loop of assumptions. It can create a reality tunnel plus the window of the scope of things that we can and can't talk about. And where I'm trying to sort of say, hey, maybe we've got some presuppositions here that should be challenged. I think people get really, really upset with what the video simply was. So, doing truth telling, let me tell you that I know exactly what it is to make this channel grow, and I have for a long time, I'm not prepared to do it. You basically confirm what people already believe. I can't do that. I can't do that because the only thing I can do is find to the people you're listening to talking heads like me. They'll bind to YouTube itself, which is month by month becoming an increasingly dodgy looking organisation with that seems driven. I don't really see how else I can say it. It's clearly driven by a political agenda that I wouldn't care which way the political agenda was. I don't want it to be driven by that, but that's not it. It's not an open argument across the community. People certainly will go very different ways. On Facebook, of course, and so I'm not saying I'm not going to be able to narcissism. I'm not saying that, but I do. Sometimes what I do might feel stupid, and I hit knowing that it's good enough for people to get it. But I also know that some people need explain it in a way that's not subtle, that isn't hinting. Human being has himself not right, man not right. So in this way, through the day, under that mind about which is
Quick check from Captain One is very efficient. Captain One plastic defense like a huge sigh of relief.
these videos, and the way they are being used as a means of sort of manifesting an affirmation bias will not just be they'll make you sick if you use it that way. So what you do is you listen to a video, you say, they're back for it, then my ex-husband, my ex-wife was there, both of us, a psychiatric therapist, and then you think, right, maybe you're wrong, and you're completely right. It really will make you, it really will have a degenerative effect. I'm not doing a Jordan Peterson impression. I'm not saying, oh, you're not saying that. I'm trying to tell you sincerely that if you use my video and video label in that way, will generate something, not hyper, not exaggeration. Your capacity to be a human will degenerate. Probably already is degenerating. Probably already is quite damaged. To multitask the community, if it's called the community, it's called the community tab on YouTube. And I asked in the community tab on YouTube, the YouTubers that give
I thought you know what
do
I
you
was
want
saying.
to? A lot of people said yes. And I was
So I
thinking,
thought maybe I'm not as good a person as I thought I
why?
was.
Why do you want to online? Are you both? There are things people need in your life on the internet. So it's one of the things that you can't, never, if you need friends, you can't walk with friends. If you're low, do something about that. Talk to people, do something about that. If the solutions we find for problems are always achieve one, achieve all, and lazily achieve those solutions. I might move from Jordan Peterson to George S. Patton in a moment here. About this thing of the trying to find online communities because you're low, trying to find the solutions to your life through your phone.
Yeah, it was temporary.
And trying to do the affirmation bias fandango whereby you prove to yourself what you already suspected was true or want to be true and needs to be true in order to justify your life choices.
But for so long, being
If you created a scenario of using these videos to say somebody with a personality disorder, somebody who has psychiatric condition, hard psychiatric condition, a rare psychiatric condition, in order to interpret the breakdowns in your relationship. And you then take that and you say, that makes them altogether wrong. And that makes me altogether right. Let me offer you this warning. If you are trying to walk a path in which you're telling yourself and you're living a narrative that you're blameless, if you're blameless, then you lack responsibility. And if you lack responsibility, you lack power. This is not a good place to be, folks. I know that the way things are moving, the way the narratives around us are being constructed is very much about blame, and it's very much about guilt, and it's very much about saying,
Yeah, because it's needs to think and actually put people to moving.
and that's what my life sucks. And there are people out there who probably really can do nothing to save themselves. They're probably essentially prisoners. They might be prisoners inside the family, they might be prisoners in government, they might be